Good evening. Today's date is Thursday, March 26, 2026. We will be talking about the news bias that came out today, um, the set news report unemployment claims that came out at 8:30, and my personal trade. First, let's start with the market position currently. Let's see here. So, we see this huge sell off today. Hopefully, you caught a move to the downside in shorts. We see this huge sell off. Why do we see this huge sell off? We see this huge sell off because people are starting to understand that Trump's bluffing when he says, Iran wants to make a deal so badly. You know, Iran wants to make a deal so badly, but every proposal we send them, they say no. And if you check Iran's personal Twitter and the local Iranian news outlets, they don't even really want to make a deal at all. Trump wants to make this deal. Okay? So if you understand that and you don't take everything that Trump says at face value, because if you do that, you think the market's going to pump like it did here. But this was just some initial news spike. When you see this move here, this is what's really happening. And what's really happening is Trump is bluffing and Trump is lying to you, and you guys are eating it up. And if you caught longs today, you know, if you successfully traded longs today, that's good. But do not believe what he says at face value. You are going to get eaten alive. Okay, I want to start by saying that. So we got this huge sell-off today. Market position, pretty good. You know, sell off. We're filling this gap. See this gap down here. You can see this gap right here. I'm not going to mark it out perfectly, but okay. You see, we filled this gap pretty good here. All right, so let's get into what came out in the news, the macro news bias. So today, this morning, Trump comes out and tells Iran to act quickly, which is really rich because apparently he comes out, if you watched yesterday's video, they want to make a deal so badly. They want to make a deal so badly, but you're telling them to act quickly, okay? It's something's not adding up here. You don't have to tell someone to act quickly if they want it so badly. He's contradicting himself every other sentence. So, you know, take the headlines with a grain of salt. Take what he says with a grain of salt. Okay? Use that for your news bias. Secondly, don't expect rate cuts anytime soon. The rate cuts are not coming. The rate cuts are not coming. Trump messed that up completely. The rate cuts are not coming. The chance for rate cuts are gone. You'll be lucky if you get some this year. Maybe. Maybe at the end of this year if this gets resolved quickly. In the second half of this year. Trump says they are begging for ceasefire or Trump says they're begging for a deal while they deny the ceasefire proposals. Also, if you look at what we're proposing them slop. It's terrible. We're not even, depending on how you consider what winning is, we're not even winning this war. And we're the proposals we're giving them are pretty outrageous. So, you know, and you see some things in the news about whether some of First of all, NATO says it doesn't want to help. Trump confirmed that NATO says they don't want to help. You see some things with the UK or maybe France wants to get involved. Who knows what's going to happen with that? They haven't got involved yet. This does impact Europe badly. This impacts every country that needs oil pretty badly. If you see Iran's demands, they're also not realistic. Okay, Iran wants money from the U.S. That's not going to happen. So for the news bias, obviously bearish still. What Trump said was a lie. Do not listen to him. Use your head. Don't get fooled by the headlines. Okay? That's what I'm going to say about that. Let me think if there's anything else. No, there's nothing else. Just remember that Trump's a liar. Okay? Trump is lying. He's lying and he's contradicting himself every other second. Don't buy it. Okay? You may be wondering what I'm going to address this really quick. You may be wondering what this is right here. Some news came out. Let me see. Let me check real quick. Ah, here it is. President Trump says he is delaying destruction of Iranian energy plants by 10 days at the request of the Iranian government. Talks are ongoing. Okay, so talks are ongoing. Talks have been ongoing, and they are begging for a deal so badly, presumably. If you remember, Monday they delayed it 5 days. Now they're delaying it 10 days. I don't know if that's 10 days from now or 10 days from when the 5 days was proposed. Who knows? That's probably going to get pushed back again because he's bluffing. He's bluffing every other sentence. Okay, that's enough about Iran and Trump, but, I really don't want people to get confused about what's happening here if I haven't made that clear. Let's look at unemployment claims because that did come out today at 8:30. The forecast was 211K, actual was 210. Let's look at the trend. So, unemployment claims overall have been going down. I mean, look at that, relatively, they're going down. The economy is in a good place. Take out the Iran stuff. Go back a couple months ago. The economy is in a good place. This Iran stuff really messed it up. And it's not permanent, but in the temporary sense, temporary to medium term sense, this Iran stuff did mess it up. We had a good economy. The economy was doing good and getting better. So this is as expected. We can move on and review the personal trade I took today. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so you can see that we have this new week opening gap that I marked out down here. Going into market open, Trump posted on True Social, they better come to the table. They better. It's like he's begging them. It's like he's begging them, but he's saying he's winning. Okay? So going into that, I said fundamentally, on the news side of things, we're bearish. On the technical analysis side of things, we're also bearish. So it was kind of a no-brainer. But what was clear is there was still hesitation of a deal being made. So I used that. Okay? I used that. And then you see we kind of took out these London lows. They're kind of New York AM lows, pre-market lows. You see we take these out at open, right? And we continue higher. Then this 10 a.m. candle closes. We form a 4-hour fair value gap right here. One thing to note, we broke into 1-hour market structure on both the indexes, okay? We have this 4-hour fair value gap though. I was not interested in taking longs this morning. I was not interested in this move, and I told myself, I said, I am only shorting today. There's no way I'm going long. Look at this. Do you need any other confirmation than this? Who looks at this and says long? Okay? You could have if you're a scalper on a really low time frame, you could have made something out of this, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this move. Okay? This is the move. So, 1 hour breaks into a bullish market structure. I'm not too concerned about that because look at the 4-hour. Okay? 4-hour, we have this fair value gap right here. We end up filling it. Look at this 4-hour equilibrium. I have it marked out right here. I'll do it for the sake. Okay, you see that 4-hour equilibrium. Filling this 4-hour, sweeping this liquidity. By the way, right here. This is liquidity. This is liquidity. This is the 4-hour equilibrium. We see these are London highs right here. You know, I wanted these highs taken out. I'll get to that in a second. 4-hour equilibrium right here. That gets filled. That does get filled. You do hit 4-hour equilibrium. You see that? Barely tapped. Nevertheless, it got filled. 4-hour fair value got filled, and consequent encroachment. The midpoint of this 4-hour fair value gap. Look at that. Perfect tap. Then I wanted these London highs taken out. I did. Badly. But the market gave me signals to the downside, especially on the 5-minute. We see this 5-minute break of structure right here, and then we see this retracement. Okay, 5-minute break of structure right here. We see this retracement into equilibrium on the 5-minute. Drop down to the 1-minute. Let's see. I'm waiting for this 1-minute to change into bearish order flow. We see we close above this right here. Okay, I want to see it close bearish. We get this close on this candle here. I ended up getting filled right. This is my fill price. And then I take it down to these lows right here. I could have held for longer. I have consistency rules. You know, you could have held for this new week opening gap. Oh, let's comment on this right here. This regular trading hours gaps. I've been using this recently just as something as extra confluence. I recommend you start if especially, you know, I recommend you start using this. How do you use it? You go to this, you look at the regular trading hours gap. Oops. You go to this, you look at this regular trading hours gap, you mark it out like I did here. You go back, and now you have this here. This is the regular trading hours gap. You see this midpoint gets filled here, right here. 4-hour equilibrium, midpoint gets filled, liquidity sweep. Low time frame bearish SMT, I'm not too concerned about this. If this was a low time frame bullish SMT, I'm not too concerned about that. I don't really like SMTs real close together like that. I like this. If this got hit, that would be a nice SMT here. You know, that's kind of what I prefer. But, you know, that also did happen. That was extra confluence as well. So, yeah, that was the trade. Hopefully you caught shorts today. Stay up to date on the news. Don't believe everything you hear. Be careful trading. These markets are very tough.